this lunchtime. A Londonderry man appears in court charged with a string of terrorist offences, and 2 West Belfast pensioners are threatened at knife point by robbers. A man has appeared in court in Londonderry charged with a string of terrorist-related offences. James Edward Taylor, who's 38 and from the Lincoln Courts estate, is accused of attempted murder and a gun attack on the Cosy Inn public house on the 18th of September. Taylor is also accused of making or possessing bombs. He was remanded in custody. The family of a West Belfast pensioner have been describing how she and an elderly neighbour were terrorised by knife-wielding burglars. David Morgan reports.
Relatives of 74-year-old Alice Reid arrive at her home at Glencolin Way this morning. Last night, she and her friend, Jean Crouch, had been terrorised by 2 men who got into the house after claiming to be police officers. Their arrival signalled the beginning of a traumatic half-hour of threats and abuse.
They burst their way in. They had hooded jackets on them and like handkerchiefs around their face and demanding money. But when I first got into the living room, they put them on the ground, and then they ripped the phone out of the wall, and then were still squealing at them and branding the knives at them. Told them I would cut them up if they didn't give what they wanted.
The men stole several £100s which the pensioner had put aside for bills, and also money she had collected for the hospice. Local people and indeed local politicians believe that those behind this attack had clearly known that Alice Reid would be on her own or with an elderly friend.
We have people who are coming into our community, some people who live in our community, who are obviously predators, and they're exploiting elderly and vulnerable people, hunting them down, finding out where they live and attacking them, and it's just shameful and appalling.
The burglars also made off with some of the widow's collection of Royal Doulton figurines, some bought more than 40 years ago. Her family are furious.
Scum. They're just animals. It's desperate to think it will live in this society where thugs that would do this and old people, because they'll grow old themselves one day and we'll see what it's like, how they feel. To be sitting afraid, it's terrifying enough for an old person living on their own and afraid of every noise they hear. So they're just scum.
Alice was too frightened to appear on camera, and her family say this ordeal probably means she will leave her home, forced out by criminals. David Morgan, UTV Live, West Belfast.
Detectives investigating the murder of Paul Crimble have arrested a man and a woman. The body of the father of 2 was found in a car near Portadown to Market Hill Road on the 20th of June. A group of more than 30 school children were rescued from the Mourne Mountains last night. 6 were treated in hospital for hypothermia. Susan Miller reports.
The children aged between 12 and 18 and their group leader from a school in Drogheda were brought to Daisy Hill Hospital in Newry by ambulance and bus. An emergency plan was put into action after the mountain rescue team received word that the hill walking group was in trouble. 11 ambulances and 4 doctors were tasked to the scene. 6 children were assessed as suffering from hypothermia and were admitted to hospital. The rest were treated in accident and emergency.
With it being a Sunday night, we had a lot of resources available, which we mobilised. There also was mobilised the mountain rescue team, as you know, and the Coast Guard were also mobilised, and the PSNI were involved. It was a massive turnout from all the emergency services, and we all worked well, coordinated well together, and hence we have all the children here safely in Daisy Hill Hospital.
All the children are responding well to treatment. They're being treated, those that were brought to the A&E department by the A&E staff, and the remainder have been treated in our outpatients department just for distress, cold and damp and hungry.
The hospital is confident that its emergency action plan was able to deal effectively with the situation last night. Susan Miller, UTV Live.
Irish police have begun an investigation after Mahara driver Eugene Donnelly crashed out of the final stage of the Cork Rally. Claire McCollum reports.
Eugene Donnelly surveys the damage to his Toyota Corolla after his crash on the final stage of the Cork Rally. The crash happened after the Mahara man drove over debris which should not have been on the road. The items included rocks and this foam board embedded with nails. Donnelly's brother was clearly moved when he saw the damage to the car, the realisation of what could have happened hitting home. Thanks to the safety of these rally cars, both Eugene and his co-driver Paul Kiley escaped unhurt, but the incident has left a sour taste in the mouths of both the competitors and the organisers.
Well, it's a very disappointing situation. It's been a very tough event for everybody. It was a great competition up to the very end. It's very disappointing that we've finished up with a situation where we're not clear exactly what happened. The incident is being investigated at the moment, so until we know the full results of that, we won't really know what happened.
Going into the final stage, the championship decider, Donnelly had a 9-second lead, but after his crash, Glengormley driver Derek McGarrity went on to take the win. However, in the circumstances, the organisers decided to cancel the last stage altogether and have awarded the Pirelli Irish Tarmac Championship to both Eugene and Derek. An investigation into Donnelly's crash is underway. Claire McCullum, UTV Live.
And that's the news so far today from UTV Live. I'll be back with an afternoon update just after 3 o'clock. Join us then, but now it's back to Nick Owen in London.